I'm Stephanie Wade, and right now at 5 on WRTV, the governor gives an update on COVID-19, where we're at as a state just ahead.
Could it be the start of a new era in the Catholic Church? The Pope makes what some call a bold declaration on same-sex unions. But is it really anything new from the pontiff?
And then what to do with all of those unused blue Indy car-sharing parking spots. If you've got an idea, we know who wants to hear it.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5, streaming now.
Good evening to you. WRTV continues to hold state leaders accountable for your well-being during the pandemic. COVID-19 cases are spiking at an all-time high in Indiana since the spring.
WRTV's Stephanie Wade called into the governor's briefing today, and she joins us now with the latest updates on this. Stephanie.
Mark and Amanda, good evening. The question weighing on many people's minds right now as the number of COVID deaths and cases is at the highest we've seen in quite some time is what's next? Should we be adding more restrictions in? Should we be going back in stages here? Well, the governor addressing that question today, saying he does not intend on doing so. Why? He says because we didn't have the testing, the contact tracing, the PPE, the capability of treating patients as we did in the beginning of the pandemic. Take a listen.
We know how to fight back. We know we can control what we can control. And that has to do with distancing. That has to do with masking up. That has to do with good hygiene, all those best practices. So we know in stage 5. And by the way, we have proof it works. Look at our schools. And so, do you want us not to be back in school? Do you want to go back? Because we're proving, as are other states, that this is not originating in our schools. Why? Because they are enforcing best practices.
Now, although we have twice as many Hoosiers hospitalized right now than we did in June and July, and about a third of the counties in our state are in the orange zone, which is a concerning level of cases, the governor says where people are getting the virus is in small gatherings where they're letting their guard down. Now, he was also asked if he plans on attending the Vice President Pence's rally tomorrow in Fort Wayne. He says he will likely be there and will be masked up and taking all the proper safety precautions. Reporting live tonight outside the State House, Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
Stephanie, thank you. The State Department of Health reports more than 1,700 new COVID-19 cases. It is the 15th consecutive day that Indiana has more than 1,000 new cases reported. 15 more Hoosiers died with COVID-19, bringing the total number of COVID-related deaths to 3,790. Since March, more than 152,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for this virus. More than 2.5 million tests have been administered in Indiana.
A nursing home operator is responding after a COVID-19 outbreak at a Boone County facility left residents and people dead. Signature Healthcare at Parkwood in Lebanon also has 37 employees and residents who are positive for COVID-19. They are owned by Signature Healthcare out of Louisville, Kentucky, which operates 9 Indiana facilities. The company says it is following a state mandate that all long-term care facility staff test at least weekly until there are no positive cases for 14 days. The company says it is also testing all residents and staff at the first sign of symptoms. Signature Healthcare says, quote, oftentimes, the numbers of COVID-positive cases in our facilities reflect not only our positive resident cases, but also those cases we have accepted into our COVID-19 units at hospitals asks for assistance. Our facility-wide testing is one of the best ways to protect and help care for them all.
Health experts have been warning the death toll from the pandemic is higher than the daily count suggests. And now a new study from the CDC estimates just how high that number really is. The health agency says the U.S. saw nearly 300,000 more deaths in the past 10 months than what's usually expected annually, adding that hospitalized COVID-19 patients are 5 times more likely to die than patients hospitalized with the flu. The CDC says the coronavirus has taken a disproportionate toll on Latino and African American lives, as well as 25 to 44-year-olds.
This is not a disease that spares anybody. And there has been this kind of drumbeat of, oh, it's only the elderly. First of all, that would be bad enough. But second, it's all of us.
The World Health Organization reports more than 36,000 people died worldwide from COVID-19 last week alone. 2.4 million were infected. In the U.S., cases are rising in 44 states and territories with an average of 57,000 new cases per day. Meantime, talks are still ongoing for another coronavirus stimulus bill in Washington. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has set Friday as the new deadline for the deal, and White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows says he's still optimistic about getting it done.
Now to a development that could signal a major shift in Catholic Church policy. Pope Francis has declared support for same-sex civil unions for the first time during his tenure as pontiff. Now, he made the declaration in a documentary film called Francesco, released today in Rome. In the film, the Pope says, quote, "Homosexual people have a right to be in a family. They are children of God and have a right to a family," end quote. The Pope then called for the creation of civil union laws.
Now for your Storm Team forecast, and we saw an overcast day with cooler temperatures to begin, but things warmed up and the sun tried to peek out a little bit. Meteorologist Kyle Mounts is tracking what comes next. Hey, Kyle.
Yeah, Mark, did need those sunglasses for a little bit this afternoon, but that veil of cloud cover winning out once again. Of course, you needed the umbrella earlier this morning. Look at this band of rainfall, really from the northwest side of Indianapolis, stretching through Crawfordsville to Kokomo. About 2 to 5 inches of rain that fell last night into this morning. Kokomo reporting over 4 inches of rain. Not far from it in Fishers, about 3.5 inches in Greencastle, Rockville, Avon. Also coming in over 3 inches of rainfall. Things much quieter for us now, but as we look at TrueCast here this evening, with those clouds, possibility of an isolated shower that really be over western and northwestern locations. You can see the focus really shifts toward Michigan as we go into tonight. But with the clouds, temperatures continuing to warm up here a little bit. We're at 61 right now. It's 59 for you in Bloomington, 58 in Kokomo, and 63 in the Shelbyville area. If you're heading out this evening, most of us are going to stay dry with those mostly cloudy skies, and temperatures will hold steady here right around 60 degrees through 10 o'clock, and the sun, it now sets before 7 o'clock. Of course, we're not going to see a whole lot of it. That sunset at 6:57. We'll talk about some spring-like warmth coming our way for the rest of the week in a few minutes.
The Pacers are welcoming their new head coach to Indianapolis. That decision was announced yesterday. Nate Bjorkgren has now arrived and seems eager to get to work with his new team. The coach and team vice president Kevin Pritchard talked with the media today. About a dozen candidates were in the mix at the start, but Pritchard says they knew very quickly that Bjorkgren was the right man for this job. Nate comes here after being an assistant in Toronto, where they won an NBA title in 2019.
This team is ready. And as you know, they're great basketball players, but they're even better people. And just talking to them on the phone and getting to know them just a little bit more in the last, 24 hours has been special to me.
We felt like this was a no-brainer. And when we came to a decision, there were high fives in our office, and we knew that this was the right guy.
Brad Brown will have more from the coach and what's next for the Pacers. That is coming up tonight at 6.
You can be a driving force behind the new use for spaces left vacant after the city ended the Blue Indy car sharing service. Today, the city announced details of a reimagining the curb public engagement effort. It invites resident feedback on ideas for repurposing the underground connections to power available at former Blue Indy sites. The centerpiece of the engagement is an electronic survey to gauge public support of ideas submitted for this summer. Also, posters will be placed at sites by the end of the month, encouraging you to vote by text and offer your opinion. Following the period of public engagement, the city expects to develop plans for future uses at each public site.
Much more ahead tonight on WRTV News. Similar symptoms but different illnesses. Tonight you will see the work a local lab is doing to help us understand the differences between strep, the flu, and COVID-19.
Also ahead, turning out in record numbers still. This was the line at a Johnson County early voting precinct. We've got the new numbers showing just how many Hoosiers have voted so far. Next.
One person is dead after a shooting this morning just east of downtown. Metro police officers responded to the shooting in the 10,000 block of East Washington Street just after 5:30. They found one person suffering from a gunshot wound. That person was taken to the hospital in serious condition, but died a short time later. No word yet on a possible motive or suspect.
A busy day on the campaign trail for both vice presidential candidates as well as President Trump. Meanwhile, Joe Biden is spending the week preparing for tomorrow night's debate in Nashville. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez is at Belmont University with the latest on the lead up to the election.
13 days to go, and we cannot spare a minute.
With that Election Day countdown, a major focus today on critical battleground states. Vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris in North Carolina.
The people of North Carolina are very much going to be a very big part of deciding the outcome of this election.
Vice President Mike Pence in New Hampshire.
We will make America great again. Again.
And former President Barack Obama heading to Pennsylvania, holding his first in-person rally of this election season, campaigning for former Vice President Joe Biden, who's at home in Delaware preparing for Thursday night's debate. And in an interview with ABC's Milwaukee affiliate, praising the debate commission's plan to, at times, silence candidates' microphones.
I think there should be more limitations on us not interrupting one another.
One of the topics on the agenda for Thursday night, the coronavirus pandemic, which so far has killed more than 220,000 Americans. In a town hall with Sinclair stations, President Trump discussing his handling of the pandemic, saying he wouldn't have done much differently.
Look, it's all over the world. You have a lot of great leaders. There are a lot of smart people. It's all over the world. It came out of China. China should have stopped it.
The president, meanwhile, continuing his blitz through swing states, heading to North Carolina following Tuesday night's rally in Pennsylvania, a state he won by less than 1% in 2016.
Pennsylvania, you got to get out and vote. You know, if we win Pennsylvania, we win the whole thing.
And the Trump campaign has criticized the debate commission, the moderator, and the topics that will be covered here Thursday night. But despite those complaints, they say the president does plan to be here and participate in this final debate. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Nashville.
Well, Hoosiers are still lining up in record numbers to vote early in this year's election. Our Lauren Casey snapped these pictures earlier today as she went to vote in Johnson County. Long lines to vote continued at the White River branch of the Greenwood Public Library despite today's rain. Here are the latest early voting numbers from the Secretary of State's office. The number of in-person early votes has now surpassed the number of absentee ballots that have been returned in the mail. More than 734,000 Hoosiers have already cast their votes so far. That's almost 27% of the number of people who voted in the presidential race 4 years ago. A reminder, if you want to vote by mail, you must request your ballot by October 22nd. That's tomorrow. But you're encouraged to do so as soon as possible. And when it comes to returning your ballot, officials must receive it by noon on Election Day. If you're concerned about your ballot getting through the mail in time, you can drop it off in person. Let WRTV be your central source for all you need to know before November 3rd. Go to our Vote in 2020 digital section on our website. You'll find everything you need to know there, including who's on your ballot, where you can vote and when, and any other questions you might have this election season.
COVID-19 is not the flu. Both share similar symptoms. New and only on WRTV, a local lab is looking to clear up the confusion among people who want to know if they are dealing with strep, the flu, or COVID-19. More now from Rafael Sanchez.
This looks like your traditional drive-through COVID-19 testing site, but more is happening here, all to clear up several health concerns.
I think we're all very nervous, especially with the kids going back to school and their exposure, and with it getting cold out, people are starting to demonstrate whether they're COVID or flu symptoms. We don't know until we test them.
Indianapolis-based ARIA Diagnostics has decided to offer 3 tests during one stop. The private lab can determine whether you have strep, the flu, or COVID-19. Separate swabs for the flu and strep can get you results in 10 minutes and less than 48 hours to determine if you have coronavirus.
So since the flu and COVID have a lot of similar symptoms, we found it would be convenient and pretty effective. Being able to offer an accessible solution, I think, is going to put people at ease, allow them to at least feel comfortable that it's not COVID, and maybe it is just strep, and they can treat those, flu and strep, with medication.
The tests are covered by insurance if ordered by a doctor. ARIA has also set up a telehealth service to allow healthcare professionals to determine if you need to be tested. At a time when a cough or a fever could spiral into serious worries, the drive-thru is hoping to figure out whether you need medication or to be in isolation. Working for you, Rafael Sanchez, WRTV.
ARIA Diagnostics has a number of testing sites in the Indianapolis area. For more info, you can call 317-623-4003. If you don't get a doctor's order to have insurance cover the costs, the 3 tests will cost you $185.
Once the rain moved out earlier this morning, not a bad day to head out for a walk there on the Monon Trail, and I'm sure it will be very busy tomorrow because we are going to get unseasonably warm temperatures. In fact, we'll be closer to the record high than the average high for us as we go into our Thursday afternoon. Right now, a little closer to that average. We're at 61 downtown in Indy. Some 50s out there for you right now. Martinsville at 59, Thorntown at 57 degrees. And again, things are pretty quiet here in central Indiana. As we look back to the west, there's this batch of rain right along the Mississippi River, but there's also a few showers out ahead of it. If those hold together, could see a couple of those skirting their way through western and northwestern portions of central Indiana, but it would be very isolated for us. Tonight, our temperature down to 57. We'll keep quite a few clouds around the area, and as we go into the forecast tomorrow, take it hour by hour here, those numbers start off mild, so we're not going to drop too much tonight. We'll be right around 60 degrees in the morning, and we'll already be approaching 70 here as we get ready for lunchtime. So maybe take lunch outdoors tomorrow, enjoy some of that nice fall color that we have here in central Indiana. What didn't get knocked down by the rain and the winds that we had yesterday. Temperature 72 for you at noon. We'll get into the middle and upper 70s, and I think many locations will touch the 80-degree mark here as it gets a little breezy into the afternoon. 81 for you in the Bloomington area, 80 in Indy. There's that record high of 85, upper 70s in Muncie and Richmond, right around 78 degrees. Talked about that breeze. It kicks up a little bit. Not going to be anything we can't handle, though. Only about 10 to 15 miles per hour, but it is out of that warm southerly direction for us. It will start to turn out of the northwest, though, as we go late in the day on Friday. Friday, we are mild before some more showers and thunderstorms move in. A high temperature of 74 there. Our average high is in the middle 60s right now. As we look at the 7-day planning forecast, that chance for rain is going to move in here late in the day on Friday, maybe a few thunderstorms within that as well. Not anticipating any severe weather with it, but could have some gusty winds and again some areas of heavier rainfall. 74 will be the high temperature on Friday, but then look at what happens going into the upcoming weekend. We're going to drop by about 20 degrees to 55 there. Should be dry, though. I think the rain is going to get out of here pretty early in the day. And as we look at the second half of the weekend, temperatures, they come back up. They're respectable in the middle 60s with a chance for some rain as we go into the afternoon and evening. That's with another weather system that brings in widespread rainfall for next Monday. So we are into this much more active weather pattern for us, and we could see some heavy rainfall out of that system as well. Then much cooler as we go to Tuesday and Wednesday, highs only in the 50s. It looks like that will be a trend as we go through the end of October, including Halloween, into the start of November here. This is the climate weather outlook as we go to about the 2nd of November, and you can see a lot of blue on the map here across central Indiana, indicating those below average temperatures. Of course, our average continuing to get a little bit lower as we go into the end of the year. Mark?
All right, Kyle, thank you. Next here on WRTV, the long-lasting Halloween tradition that's coming to an end, and what will happen instead for Snoopy and the gang.
Cleanup on aisle 4. You won't hear cleanup on aisle 4 at Sam's Club anymore, and that's because floors won't be mopped by a person who responds to voice commands. The Warehouse Club is putting robot floor scrubbers in most of its stores this fall. They come from a company called Brain Corp, which also makes an accessory that allows robots to analyze shelf inventory. Analysts say this is to be expected in light of the coronavirus pandemic. Walmart, which owns Sam's, announced last year would bring autonomous floor scrubbers to more than 1,800 of its stores by next February. The company says that's so employees can help customers instead of mopping floors.
All right. One of your Halloween family traditions could be coming to an end for the first time in more than 50 years. The classic It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, won't be broadcast. And if that has you saying, oh, good grief, there is one place you can still catch the special. It's The Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown is now available exclusively to Apple TV Plus subscribers. And the special will be streamed on the platform for free to everyone on October 30th through November 1st. According to Apple, Apple TV Plus will be the new home for all Peanuts gang content, including a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving and a Charlie Brown Christmas and a new series called The Snoopy Show.
And if you're a fan of the Fast and Furious, the end may be near. Variety is reporting that the movie franchise will finally come to an end, though it likely won't be for a few more years. Fast and Furious follows the adventures of Vin Diesel's character, Dominic Toretto, and his family of car enthusiasts turned thieves. The 9th Fast and Furious movie, F9, is scheduled to come out next year. Variety says Universal Studios plans to make a 10th and 11th film before finally bringing the Fast and Furious series to a close.
The last one is slow and upset. A British man is becoming internet famous for his amateur drawings of pets. Phil Heckles says he was trying to get his 6-year-old son to write a thank you card. To inspire him, Heckles decided to draw the family dog. He later uploaded his picture of the black lab to Facebook with googly eyes, oversized limbs, and wonky features. He jokingly wrote that he would sell it for about $390. Heckles was surprised to be flooded with offers. Now he has well over 1,000 requests waiting from people who want to buy what he calls his crap art. But he isn't getting paid. Instead, he's asking for donations to be made to a homeless charity. And so far, his fundraiser has generated about $15,000.
Creative, I like it.
I like it too. All right.
All new at 6 p.m., the Pope announcing his support of civil unions, the impact this could have on 2 LGBTQ employees fired from Indianapolis Catholic schools. And still to come at 5:30, taking control as we observe Bullying Prevention Month, we introduce you to a brave girl whose response to being bullied will hopefully inspire others.